Imagine you being a employee, right? And you have your store manager that you see all the time, every day, giving you directives and orders and all that kind of stuff. Then imagine you have the area manager, which is ahead of your store manager, who gives orders to the store manager to give to you. And also, the store manager has the power to make their own directives, provided that it is in sync with the directives of the area manager. um, that's where I was in ministry. I had somebody that I saw every on a regular, that got directives from God, and had the ability to make his or her own directives, which is cool. But sometimes when things aren't right, you go and make a complaint, right? Yeah, and you go through your chain of command. If it was a physical store, you would be like, you would talk it over with your manager, and if you didn't, your store manager, and if you didn't get the satisfaction that you feel like you should get for your problem, then you take it to the next higher up, which is your area manager. Then your area manager has the final say. So sometimes in ministry, um, things don't always go as planned, or ideas and personalities get conflicted, and ultimately, the area manager, God, has the final say so. I found myself in ministry sometimes struggling with um, hearing the voice of God, and needing to do what He asked me to do, or how He asked me to do it, versus what my store manager, which is my um, spiritual higher ups that I answer to, which can be conflicting. And this happens. I mean, we're all human. We're all flawed. I can't say that I'm 100% right in everything, but on a greater note, I also know the voice of my Father in heaven. And when you feel pressed and you feel like you don't know what to do, the best thing to do for yourself and to help others, if you're a leader, is to stay on your knees and know that you're listening to God. And I know for a fact that I'm listening to God. I'm not saying I'm perfect, because I'm not, but I do listen to the voice of God. Um, I am without a church home right now. Um, I've been tossing around some ideas, because God didn't call me to be in the traditional type of limelight. As you can see, I'm not a traditional minister. Um, my platform isn't so much trying to be in a pulpit all the time. My thing is, I'm not there for saved people. I'm my ministry and why I'm here is to get those who are lost. Those who are saved, y'all gonna be alright. You know what I'm saying? Y'all gonna be fine. I'm trying to get the ones that aren't saved. My platform is Facebook. My platform is my job. My platform is when I walk down the street and I talk to people. My platform is the street. You know, I'm out there. My platform is when I do poetry, in certain venues. My platform is the bar, when I get invited to do events in a bar. And don't y'all church people turn up your noses and be like, "I she in a bar." Go get you some Jesus, and marinate on that one. But my platform isn't the traditional behind the pulpit in the church. Although I love church, I love my church family, my kingdom family, but ministry isn't limited to a building. Ministry is how you carry yourself in everyday life, and how people see you in your conversations that you have. Ministry is that can people see God in you when they see you, when they talk to you, when they notice things about you? Do people want the God that you got because of the life that you live and the things that they can see about your life? Um, I used to get so down on myself because I'm like, man, I'm not in the pulpit, I'm not in the, you know, in a church right now. And God's like, well, I didn't call you to be in a church. I didn't call you to even be like anybody else. You keep trying to fit into this mold that I'm trying to break, and you can't do that. So right now I thinking about experimenting with something new, um, doing ministry outside of a building, completely, like no building at all, just ministry, just being out there in the streets every day, hitting the streets, hitting the hospitals, talking to people, nursing homes, um, bars, just being out at different events talking about Jesus, having people see Jesus and me on Facebook, along with the other rants that I talk about. But for the most part, um, I was ordained an elder, been a minister for a very long time. I haven't um, been practicing in a church for a long time, but I've been in ministry for a long time. I've been under a lot of good ministers, a lot of bad ministers. So I mean, I kind of know what um, sort of what to avoid and what to expect, and what God wants and expects of me. I'm not new to this. I'm not new to it at all. People think that I am because they just see me in the church. But no, I'm not new to ministry. I've been doing ministry for a very, very long time. Um, I just been running away from my calling every now and then. Back in the day, everybody runs. Noah ran. Everybody runs. You ran too, so don't be trying to judge me. But for the most part, um, I spent many years in ministry, and I'm more of an evangelist at heart. My grandmother, Mary Peebles, believe it or not, she was an evangelist, and even when I was out in the streets, running the streets, I ran the streets. I was the one that did all the talking. And that's just my personality. Um, I'm, I am, I just like being around people, in conversation and everything, and getting everybody to know what's real when it comes to like God now. So evangelism is definitely in the heart of me, and I am an evangelist. I don't, you know, elder is fine, but I've always had a heart for evangelism, always needed to be out there, never wanted to be confined in four walls because that's just not where my heart is. Don't get me wrong, I understand that people come to the church to get help and healing, and don't get me wrong, they have pastors and people for that. But I'm not that type of person. I'm the type of person that goes out and ministers to people, but also try to get them to live a life that they can sustain themselves if they don't happen to step in a church. Because everybody, are not going to go to church steady. So they still need God, and God still can be in you without a church. Not saying that you should avoid going to church, because the word of God says don't forsake yourself assembly, but at the same time, you don't need to just go anywhere and just get anything just for the sake of being in the church. You have to have a personal relationship with God, a one-on-one relationship with God, a relationship where you communicate with Him, that you can ask God questions and He answers you back. There's no need for a middleman. The middleman is just there to help you get acquainted with God and help you get you going on how to get a relationship with God. That's what my job is, to get you acquainted with God, to get you going, and then push you off on your own and say, okay, now you and God do this thing. Because we're getting into a world now to where people are putting ministers and people up on pedestals that they shouldn't be on, expecting them to have all the answers for their life, when it comes to their relationship with God. they're not having a relationship with God themselves. They're having a relationship with their pastor who has a relationship with God, and they're going to their pastor about God and what God has for them all the time. And while that is good on short term, it's not good on long term. So that's basically where I'm at. Evangelism, that's my thing. I talked to my husband about this before because I'm always crying to him. I don't have a church to go to right now, and I don't know what to do. And I'm sure I heard from God. I'm positive. Do you think I heard from God, babe? Do you think I heard from God? I'm positive. But at the same time, um, uh, that was my son interrupting stuff. So, but anyway, but at the same time, he told me that's not the only platform. Being behind the pulpit isn't the only platform, and it isn't the only meaningful platform. It's the most traditional platform, the most accepted platform, but it's not the only platform. So my choice right now is to get out there. Summertime, you might see a lot of me. Um, I'll be out there ministering, out there helping people, just doing what I do already. Basically, just doing what I do already. Um, just that I'm not gonna to downplay it or belittle it anymore. It's ministry. It's ministry. I'm not gonna say I'm not an um, a minister or less of a minister or less of an elder because I don't have a steady church home or a physical church home. I'm a minister, I'm an evangelist, I'm out there, and that's what's important. So just think about that for a minute, ponder it, get a relationship with God, get a close relationship with God because He cares about you and He wants that. These are the last days, and it's time to pick up the last of the harvest. We have to get everybody going and get everybody in a relationship with God and let everybody know that God does love them and God is the way.